graphing a linear inequality on the number line. In this topic, you're going to be seeing statements like x greater than 4, and you're asked to graph this on the number line. I want to kind of pick apart what this is saying, and then we'll do a few more examples. So first things first, this is an inequality because it has an inequality symbol. So this guy right here is known as an inequality symbol. An equality symbol is just the equal sign. An inequality symbol means something is greater than or something is less than another thing. So there are 4 of them that you need to know. There is the greater than sign. There's the greater than or equal to sign. So if there's an underline underneath, it means greater than or equal to. And then the less than sign and less than or equal to. So when you're asked to graph the inequality x is greater than 4, the x part is really just, it's a placeholder. It's a variable and it could change. It's saying just highlight all the numbers greater than 4. To show me on a number line which numbers are greater than 4. I could honestly erase this x and put in the words highlight the numbers. So highlight the numbers greater than 4. So if I make a number line really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and put 4 right here, just in the middle, because it doesn't matter. The numbers that are greater than 4 are going to be the numbers to the right of 4. The way that the number line works is it starts at the negative side, so it starts negative infinity, and it counts its way up to positive infinity. So if I drew more numbers on this number line, 3 would go here, 2 would go here, 1 would go here. And the number line is infinite, so it goes on forever, but we only draw small portions of it at a time. So here's my number line. Numbers that are greater than 4 are going to be these guys over here, all the way out to infinity. Now, we can't draw to infinity, that's not something we can do, but we can draw an arrow to show that we mean that this goes to infinity. So if I highlight the numbers that are greater than 4, there we go. The only thing that's left to be concerned about is what about at 4 itself? What happens right here? Here's where the difference of these two come in. So greater than or equal to means that you're including 4. Greater than with no underline means that we're not including 4. We only want numbers that are strictly greater than 4. So 4.1 works. 4.000001 would work, but 4 itself wouldn't. Whereas this guy right here, 4 is included. The way that we deal with this, we use an open circle if there's no underline, and we'll use a closed circle if there is an underline. And it'll be the same thing on the less than or equal to. So all we have to do here, we're not including 4, so we're going to have an open circle here. And there it is, that's x greater than 4 graphed on the number line. Let's go ahead and do a few more examples. All right, so you're going to notice that the variable can change in this problem. It doesn't matter what the variable is, it's saying the same thing. Highlight the numbers. So in this first one, highlight the numbers greater than 1. There's no underline here, so I'm going to use an open circle at 1. So here's 1. There's my open circle. Greater than is going to be to the right of that number, so these are all the numbers greater than 1. And that's it. I've graphed that on the number line. For the next one, a is less than 10. I want to go to 10, and I want to plot an open circle, because there's no underline here, at 10. And then we want the numbers that are less than 10. So it always, the way that the inequality symbol works, it points to the smaller number, so the big end is at the big number and the small end is at the small number. So you know that 10 is the cap, everything else is less than it because the big ends are at the 10 side. And if that doesn't make sense to you, another way of looking at it is the alligator way. So the alligator, it's like an alligator mouth right here. The small alligator eats the bigger alligator. Some people like to look at it like that. But I like to look at it as the big end goes towards the bigger number. Either way, doesn't matter. This is less than, so numbers that are less than 10 are all of these guys. So I'm just going to come in with my pen and just scribbly, scribbly, scribbly. On Alex, of course, you have a tool that does this. You don't have to do scribblies. It'll highlight the whole thing for you. But on paper, you do have to do some scribblies. For x less than or equal to 2, I'm going to 2, and I am plotting a circle that is filled in because there's this underline here. So we want to highlight all the numbers that are less than or equal to 2. So here's 2 right here. Closed circle. All those numbers are less than 2. For this last example down here, we have b greater than or equal to 3. So we're going to go to 3. I'm drawing a circle. Now there is an underline here, so I'm going to fill in the circle. And then we want the numbers that are greater than 3. So that would be those numbers. Those are the numbers greater than 3. One last thing I want to mention is negative numbers. So people tend to kind of make mistakes when they start thinking about negative numbers on the number line. So let me just kind of do a few, like 2 examples where we talk about that. So if I said z is less than or equal to -5, you're still doing that same process of you go to -5, you decide whether it's an open or closed circle based upon whether or not there's an underline. So there is an underline, which means it is a closed circle. So -5, closed circle. And then it's highlight all the numbers less than -5. So regardless of whether you're a positive or negative number, less than is to the left. And you can remember less than and left both have that L sound. Less than is to the left. But you could also think of this as debt. If you're $5 in debt, you are in less debt than somebody who is $10 in debt. So you're shading all of these numbers over here. If, on the other hand, I said that, let's use C. If C is greater than -7, I come to -7. I'm drawing an open circle because there's no underline here. And then numbers that are greater than -7 are all the numbers to the right of it. So it would shade in this direction. The nice thing is, and this is kind of a nice little trick, if you have the variable part on the left, and it has to be on the left, so if you have variable, and then you have the inequality symbol, and then you have the number over here, it'll always point in the direction that you need to shade. So if you have a greater than symbol, you're going to end up shading to the left, to the right. See, it points to the right. So you shade to the right. If you have a less than symbol, then you're shading to the left. And it points to the left, so you know you're shading to the left. If your variable's on the other side, that's not going to work. So if it were number and then this box and then variable, then it would be opposite. But as long as it's written in this format here, it is actually showing you the way that you need to shade. So that's all there is to this topic. You totally got this.